continue the deception that has almost destroyed the United States of America. To see these officials talk about tax increases and cutbacks in government programs for citizens in need of assistance, using the excuse of the federal debt, is an abomination, and it's a barefaced lie. I hope you have the time to study the enclosed material. There is a tremendous amount of additional information available, and more being published. Americans must awaken to the reality of the monetary hoax and demand repeal of the 1913 Federal Reserve Act. Then reinstitution of a constitutional monetary system must be effected. Any assistance you can provide to assist in the exposure of the monetary hoax is appreciated. Thanks a lot. Sincerely, W.S. Now, folks, I've done many programs on the Federal Reserve and on the IRS, and I've told you what it is and what it does, and how the IRS operates as a collection agency for the Federal Reserve, and that neither one of them are agencies of the United States government, etc., etc., etc. So what you're going to hear, for those of you who have been listening to this program since its inception in May the 4th to be exact, of 1992, you may already know all of this, but I guarantee you there's parts of it that you're going to want to hear again. You're going to hear it from WS's point of view. A CAGI member who has gone and dug it out for himself. He didn't rely upon me to tell him the truth. He went out and found the truth, and you can do the same thing. This article was printed in the Daily American Republic, Poplar Bluff, Missouri, Monday, February the 22nd, 1993, on page 4. And it's entitled, Be Our Guest. The Daily American Republic welcomes responsible viewpoints of current interest on issues affecting Poplar Bluff and surrounding communities. The DAR reserves the right to choose or reject submissions as it deems appropriate. Now, DAR in this instance means Daily American Republic and not the Daughters of the American Revolution, as some of you may erroneously believe. The article is entitled, Americans Should Know Truth About Deficit. Editor's note. W.S. taught economics before resigning in 1988. Since then, he has spent all his time researching the truth regarding the monetary hoax perpetrated on the citizens of the United States. And this is the text of the article. Listen closely, ladies and gentlemen, dear listeners. Quote, It is time for the leaders of the United States government to tell the people the truth about the deficits and the federal debt. The truth must be revealed to the people and corrective measures taken to repeal what then Congressman Charles Lindbergh called the worst legislative crime of the ages. This truth is so incredible that perhaps the best way to grasp the reality of it is to review some congressional testimony. Eustace Mullins, in Secrets of the Federal Reserve, states that, quote, on September 30th, 1941, before the same committee, the House Committee on Banking and Currency, Governor Eccles of the Federal Reserve was asked by Representative Patman, how did you get the money to buy those $2 billion worth of government securities in 1933? Eccles, we created it. Mr. Patman, out of what? Eccles, out of the right to issue credit money. Mr. Patman, and there is nothing behind it, is there, except our government's credit? Eccles, that is what our money system is. If there were no debts in our money system, there wouldn't be any money, unquote. Mullins exclaims, this is the most incredible part of the Federal Reserve operation, and one which is difficult for anyone to understand. How can any American citizen grasp the concept that there are people in this country who have the power to make an entry in a ledger that the government of the United States now owes them $1 billion, and to collect the principal and interest on this phony loan? As Congressman Patman puts it, quote, "The Federal Reserve banks create money out of thin air to buy government bonds from the United States Treasury, lending money into circulation at interest, by bookkeeping entries of checkbook credit to the United States Treasury. The Treasury writes up an interest-bearing bond for $1 billion. The Federal Reserve gives the Treasury a $1 billion credit for the bond and has created out of nothing a $1 billion debt which the American people are obligated to pay with interest." Unquote. That is taken from Money Facts, House Banking and Currency Committee, 1964, page number 9, and anybody out there can look it up. To continue. Congressman Lewis T. McFadden, in a speech before Congress on Friday, June 10, 1932, stated this, quote, "Mr. Chairman, we have in this country one of the most corrupt institutions the world has ever known. I refer to the Federal Reserve Board and the Federal Reserve Banks. Some people think the Federal Reserve Banks are United States government institutions. They are not government institutions. They are private credit monopolies which prey upon the people of the United States for the benefit of themselves and their foreign customers. Those 12 private credit monopolies were deceitfully and disloyally foisted upon this country by bankers who came here from Europe and who repaid us for our hospitality by undermining our American institutions." Unquote. Merrill Jenkins states in his book, called Money, the Greatest Hoax on Earth, quote, "It is not who is perpetrating the evil that matters. What really matters is the abolishment of the evil so that it is not being perpetrated." Unquote. The truth about the federal debt is clearly revealed in the previous statements. The Federal Reserve creates money out of thin air to buy government bonds from the United States Treasury. This private corporation has never actually loaned any existing funds to the government. Only the relatively insignificant portion of the debt resulting from the purchase of government bonds by individuals and organizations that do not have money-creating authority is valid. In 1980, interest paid on the imaginary federal debt was $74.9 billion, or 12.7% of the budget. In 1991, interest paid increased to $286 billion, or 21.6% of the budget. If Congress and the administration really want to reduce the deficit, simply remove interest on the imaginary federal debt from the budget. In fact, with interest removed from the federal budget, you will find that in 1987 and in every year since, a surplus exists. Edwin Vieira Jr., in Pieces of Eight, A Study in Constitutional Law, states on page 359, quote, "Any attempt to amend the nation's monetary system in the direction of constitutional ends, therefore, must ruthlessly expose, categorically repudiate, and absolutely extirpate the monetary usurpations and tyranny that Congress and the executive have perpetrated and the judiciary has condoned during the last half-century." Unquote. The solution to the problem of the deficit and many other ills of our nation is the repeal of the 1913 Federal Reserve Act and reinstitution of a constitutional monetary system. I'll bet that woke you up, didn't it? Now, as I said, if you've listened to this program since its inception, some of you already know most of this. But tonight, you're hearing it from a different point of view, and you're going to hear some things that you haven't heard on this show before, because I'm going to be reading to you from some documented sources that you can go look up yourself and validate exactly what you're hearing here tonight. You see, folks, we're never never going to save the Constitution, never going to save the Bill of Rights. We're never going to save this country, and we're never going to save ourselves until we stop the greatest theft that's ever been committed in the history of the world. For they are who are pulling the strings that make us all dance whenever they want us to dance. They are the active arm of the secret societies. They are the primary method of controlling the nation and the sheeple. And most of you out there are sheeple. And if it makes you angry to hear me say that, that is confirmation that it is true. For those who are not sheeple know who they are and would never be angry at the statement because they know it's not meant for them. If it makes you angry, you are one of the sheeple, one of the people who cannot or will not use your intelligence and thus are nothing more than puppets on the end of a string. And every time the string is pulled, you will dance, and you will dance to the tune that is played by the puppet master, and you will dance in the direction that he or she wishes you to dance. And that is fact. Now, folks, make sure that you understand the intent of this program is to wake you up, to save you, to save all of us. Hopefully, to preserve freedom for the world, for we're headed into a new world order, a totalitarian socialist government where we will all be slaves. Now, I want you to listen carefully. You've all been calling, you've been writing, you've been asking me, how can I save my assets? Well, first let me tell you, folks, that if you don't save the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, you're not going to lose your assets, but you're going to lose your ass, and I don't mean the one out there in the barn. One way that you can preserve the value of what you have today is to call Swiss America Trading right now. As you know, a fire caused this show to move from WWCR to WRNO. When my friends at Swiss America Trading heard about the fire, they went right to work. They believe in this show. They believe that the people of the world need to hear the information that is put out on this show. You see, they went right to work finding us another place to broadcast. They're the ones who got us this airtime on WRNO. Within a matter of hours, this station was found, thus making it possible for this program to continue to tell the people of the world the truth that they never hear from any other source. The people at Swiss America Trading stand behind this program, and I want you to stand behind them. But especially I want you to contact them to learn how to protect what it is that you have now. The longer you wait, the less you're going to have to protect. Because inflation destroys what you own. It takes away, it robs you. And while we're in a depression now, the ultimate end of a depression is inflation. Swiss America Trading deals in protecting their clients through non-confiscatable, non-reportable hard assets. You've heard me inform you about the trouble this country is in, both politically and financially. And the time to act is now.